I tell you what, that was fancy, wasn't it? Hey, that countdown.
What was all that about?
I seen your face, Barry, and I know you were just in shock, weren't you? This is the upgrades we've been made to this podcast since the start, you know.
Taking it to another level.
Taking the viewers'
experience.
Enjoyment. Yeah, experience. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, experience to the next level. Somehow I need to figure out how to put the music that we use into a countdown.
Oh, that sounds like a job for next season. 6 months of tech work on that.
6 months of tech work, and I'll do it the night before.
Yeah, sounds exactly right.
Week 12.
We're here. We've arrived.
8 losses in a row for me. Mr. Bland beat me last weekend.
Yeah.
Ran into his highest score of the season.
Obviously.
This is a new tactic for you to get it out early before we start getting into your ribs early, isn't it? That's your new. Yeah. You've accepted defeat. Your season's over, and now you're just going to wallow in the failure.
Yeah, and after listening to you two getting excited about making the playoffs, and I won't have made any playoffs.
Yeah. Well, I did have the pleasure of I did have the pleasure of Mr. Bland's company for the games on Sunday night, and we did say that it's pretty difficult to do losing 8 in a row if you're like genuinely trying to win and putting up decent teams, and your team's not bad. But there was a moment where I think Blandy got back-to-back touchdowns in about 15 seconds when it cut from one game to the next, and it was just like that was the final nail in the coffin. Bosh.
Cooper Kupp went down injured, and then almost instantly,
Puka.
Who was it went in? Puka went in. And
James Cook,
yeah. So the injury, then the 2 touchdowns. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Is that what you put your blindfold on went to bed?
Yeah. Earplugs in.
Yeah, I was off the seat when Jaylen Warren was having his 76 touch yard run as well. It's giving it Biggins.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Biggins.
Yeah,
but
brilliant.
I think your tactic is your new tactic for next year just to play lots of leagues. So when you go 8 defeats in a row, you can just forget about that one and move on to the next one. Is that you do?
Yeah, best ball.
Yeah,
isn't that right, Bandy?
That's right, best ball.
Best ball.
Vampire League as well. We're riding up a Vampire League for next year, aren't we?
Definitely have to do one of them for the podcast. Follow it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Vampire League.
I like the sound of them. And does that mean we have to go the Vampire as well? Because I think that sounds quite a good laugh.
Yeah, it sounds class, doesn't it? So if you beat someone on that week, then you get one of their players.
Yeah,
no matter who it is.
You have to pick all your players from the undrafted people as well, don't you?
That's class. That's brilliant. Yeah, definitely do that.
Give that a go. Get a few viewers joining in. Few of the lads.
Yeah. Speaking of viewers, we haven't got any yet, so I'm not sure this Wednesday before Thanksgiving. But hey, at least we've got to keep the streak going, don't we?
Yeah, your sound's just dropping in and out again, Anth. I don't know. Do you get that Blandy? It goes a bit sort of quiet and louder every now and again.
Well, is that better?
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's good. Yeah, Thanksgiving, it knocks all the schedule a bit out of cop, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Are you celebrating any Thanksgiving, or will you be sort of just sat there with your feet up watching 3 games of NFL?
That's it. Sat there with my feet up. A couple of beers, maybe.
Yeah.
No fancy dinners.
I've declined a beer tonight. I've just gone for some pop, and then save me beers for the weekend, I think.
I've got one.
Nothing stopping you on.
Well, the bottle seemed to be popular last week, so it's back by popular demand.
Yeah, it's about the 3 foot bottle and the 4 foot man. That was what we said, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have you tried this one before, Barry? Even Menabria?
Is it an Italian one?
Yes.
I think I have tried it once or twice. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Any good?
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. Actually, got sent them by a very special friend.
Right.
Share screen. Share Right, so now I'm out of our redraft league. Yes, we've got one viewer I can take the glasses off. One viewer who's just appeared. Welcome to the show. You missed 5 minutes of great banter. You can rewind that at your own leisure.
No, we would recommend it.
Recommend it. No, if you've got any questions, now's the time.
First question of the chat.
TY, hello TY. Thanks for joining again, mate. Who do you think will win I'm a Celebrity?
I don't know who's in it. If I'm honest,
Nigel Farage is in it, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not going to win, is he?
I hope not.
Hopefully they'll leave him in the jungle and don't bring him back.
Hopefully, there's one of them like one of ones where he has to like walk over the zip line. Hopefully, the zip line gives way, right, and then he's holding on for dear life. He doesn't die, but it gives him like a awakening. Maybe he does that. That'd be brilliant. Apparently, it's on a break. I'm a Celebrity.
Oh, is that why our viewers have got up from 0 to 1? The adverts are on ITV.
We didn't factor in that I'm a Celebrity is going to be on. That's another thing we didn't factor in.
This could be the death of the podcast, couldn't it? All of these extra.
Steve Wake's watching it. Kev Wake's watching it. Hammer's watching it. That's why he's probably not on.
Taz.
I don't know. Taz is definitely watching it.
He's a big fan of the jungle.
Definitely watching it. All right, so that means we'll lose our one viewer in 30 seconds.
Yeah, your mic still just drops in and out of sound a little bit. I don't know if it's not necessarily how far you are from where, but it just sort of comes on and off a little bit. You're still here, just not quite its normal consistent volume.
Yeah.
But on to good positive news in the FFOP League. And you want to give us a little bit of an insight of how that's gone for the pod this week?
Yeah, that's exactly because I've been knocked out of redraft.
Focus your attentions elsewhere.
Yeah, I've got a bit of an interest in the league.
Are you going to pull the right league up there?
Yeah, hang on, give me a chance, man. Is my mic better?
It is when it goes down and we can't hear you. Yeah.
You bastard. Yeah, so after all of the aggro we got from Hammer last week, and he'd won, he came highest scorer 3 weeks in a row, or something like that. He was full of confidence.
There was a false claim. There was an unverified claim, though, wasn't it? Which we quickly did verify. It's like a Boris Johnson sort of statement in the House of Commons where he said something and it's completely untrue, and someone has to come in and correct him.
Right, first question of the night. Sorry, TY. First NFL fantasy related question of the night from Irvin Sanchez. Thank you for joining, Irvin. And if you haven't subscribed yet, pick 3: Saquon, Pollard, Kieran, Monty. Kieran Williams back this week, is he?
Yep.
He certainly is.
Well, I never.
He should be raring to go, shouldn't he, Blandy?
Yeah. This is.
And he should be back into a role where there's nobody going to be taking many touches off him.
Yeah, they cut Darrell Henderson yesterday, so it's just Royce Freeman. So Kyron will come back in. Like before his injury, he had a mental role.
We said didn't he? The touches were massive, weren't they?
Yeah, I don't expect first game back he'll have all them, but I would certainly think 65-70% is a fair projection of what we can expect from him this week. And
if they get him back to playing at a good level, will that change how they approach the game and sort of the tactics? Because obviously they're normally quite a pass heavy team, but if you have got the run game going and you've got some decent players in a run game, does that move your tactics a little bit?
We started pass heavy to start the year, but now the Rams have gone very run heavy, even with Kyron out. Last week against the Seahawks, they had a -12 pass rate over expectation. So even in the game where we were literally chasing it the whole game, the Rams went very run heavy. And against this Cardinals team, you can kind of beat them any way you want. But I think that the Rams are going to establish a shit out the run again, especially with Kupp looking dodgy to play this week. I think it'll be a run-heavy game again.
Bit of Puka, bit of
yeah,
Higby.
Exactly. Yeah. Hopefully not Higby. You know, we want to involve our good players, not our bad ones.
Bit of Skowronek.
Full PPR, by the way. Full PPR.
But it's a good. Yeah, cheers for the question, Irvin. Good 4 guys to pick from there, isn't it? With now Kieran's back at full health.
You've got to be a brave man to drop Saquon, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, we did have a little bit of a slight on Saquon last week, and he's really come back to bite us, didn't he? With
No, not everyone.
No, I'm just saying, we know hands up when you don't necessarily get recall right, and we did say, obviously the Giants could be terrible. Danny DeVito could be terrible, and he could just toss it off. But he's certainly not down his tools. He's certainly playing and running hard, and actually DeVito, was he 3 passing touchdowns he got last week, a couple to Barkley, so that was I think Commanders aren't a good team, but it was a good result for the Giants. That.
Yes, the Giants won the game. A good result, don't know.
Yeah, good. Yeah. I think we had that discussion about the players will be wanting to win. The front office and the ownership might be wanting to lose. But if the question was about Barkley, is he saving his body for next season in a bumper contract? He was putting his body on the line, wasn't he? So that's
it was. Yeah.
Plus for him.
Yeah, indeed.
And not a bad matchup this week, have the Giants again. I don't think we fancy the Commanders pretty much against anybody, but this is not a bad spot against the Patriots, is it, either?
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots' defense is not very good against most things, but it is good against the run. But, I mean, Barkley last week, he had two receiving touchdowns, so he might get stuffed on the ground a bit, but he can still get there, in the passing game.
And yeah, we'll come on to that. And I think, again, moving to the other guys that everyone's got, the Lions backfield, is that shaping up now how we think it to look? 60-40 split to Monty, but Gibbs getting the passing work. Is that kind of where we kind of envisage at the start of the season?
Yeah, the kind of just taking it drive by drive, just splitting it drive by drive. And then Monty, I think Monty will play any short yard, like definite, obvious short yardage spots.
And red zone, he's going to be. If they're going to, pound down the middle, it's going to be Monty. If they're going to try something a bit more expansive and out there trying to get to the edge, it's going to be Gibbs, isn't it?
Yeah, and Gibbs, Gibbs will play the 2-minute drill, and any long down and distance, obvious, passing downs. But generally, they'll try and play it just drive by drive. But Gibbs is the more valuable of the two, I think, going forward longer term. With that 2-minute drill passing down work.
Absolutely, but he's running pretty well as well. Fat Dave, as we used to call him. We call him Monty now, but he's looked pretty good this season. And again, behind that good O-line, isn't he? So he does get plenty of gaps to hit, and he's hitting them hard.
Yes, yeah, I think he has the second highest success rate of all running backs in the league. So yeah, he is running very well.
And are we getting close? I was going to say, are we getting close to an answer?
I wouldn't play Kyron this week. I'd play the other three, and just watch Kyron's role this week.
And I guess the good thing going forward for everyone is he can maybe be matchup dependent. So you've got 4 guys of a similar sort of value. You can pick which ones you want have got the best matchup when they're all fit, and just sort of flex it that way. That's not a bad shout, I don't think.
Yeah, no, not at all. That's grand.
Anything that you like out of those guys, Anth? I know you're a big Saquon fan, aren't you?
Yeah, but yeah, I've got Saquon in my team. He hasn't done me any harm. He had one good week, I think, 7 points, something like that. But yeah, he's been fine. I think Kyron's probably just a bit risky in it. You always get nervous when they come back for one, like the first game back.
I'm always a little bit cautious in that. I kind of want to see it before I believe it, but I think just given with the Rams, there's a very lack of competition there. Yeah, we might not get right up to those massive numbers, but I think he's going to he's far better than the rest of us as well, isn't he, Blandy?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I'd drop him for that reason out of them four.
Yes.
So I agree with that.
Yeah, I would play the other three this week.
And Pollard, again, we'd been critical of him in last week's show that he hadn't done much. There was his first touchdown since week 1 or something recently, but he ran a bit better. He ran a bit better last week, didn't he? Had a little bit of a couple of explosive sort of bursts that I saw in some of the highlights.
Yeah, I think he had the highest success rate of all running backs in the league last week. But fortunately, he was playing against the Panthers, who have the lowest success rate against running backs. So if it was ever a matchup where he was going to do well, it was going to be last week. And anyone who has Derrick Henry this week, Barry, praying for similar results.
Yeah, but Pollard's matchup's not equally not as bad this week, is it? The Commanders, just seeing Barkley run all over them. I don't think that he's not a bad place for him to fall into, is it?
No, it's you're just hoping that the Cowboys don't go ultra pass heavy like they have recently, and they still decide to involve Pollard like they did last week. Because in previous games they've gone really, really pass heavy and just kind of ignored Pollard. But I saw a clip with CD Lamb a couple of days before the game last week, where he kind of hinted that they were going to make sure that Pollard was a big part of the game plan last week, and that's kind of how it played out. So he kind of let the cat out the bag a little bit.
Yeah. But they equally might get a couple of scores up and then by passing and then go to run as a secondary and still get plenty, because they should put plenty of points for the Commanders.
This Commanders defense is absolutely awful, especially against the pass. Especially against the. I mean, we saw Danny DeVito put up basically.
It doesn't help when you lose Chase Young and Montez Sweat on deadline day, does it?
No, not at all. No. It's of their own doing, isn't it? So, they obviously have a longer term plan.
That's debatable, but yeah. Anyway, so FFOP League. I did say that with Hammer joined us last week and made that false claim, didn't he, about that 4 wins in a row shot down in our WhatsApp group. I did fancy us to beat him this week. I think we had some good matchups and some players just coming to Boyle, and Fields came back and did the business for us as well, didn't he? 100 yards rushing.
Yeah, and it was no surprise with Fields back that DJ Moore also had a good week as well, especially against that Lions secondary, which is pretty poor.
We said last week as well, them two have got a decent old running as well, haven't they?
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Is my mic better now?
Yes, it is, yeah. It was a game that probably should have won Chicago as well, being quite heavily up quite late in the game and didn't manage to see it through. A bit of a Chicago doing a Chicago thing, isn't it? They don't seem to know how to win and manage games very well, do they?
Yeah, it appears that way, doesn't it? That's for sure.
And I'm guessing that means the coach is on borrowed time now, is he?
I think he was anyway. If when you're an OC and you're a defensive-minded OC, and you're not very good at stopping the pass and giving up points, and it's a bit of a bad reflection on you, isn't it?
Absolutely. But again, we don't care if the Bears are sort of losing games at a relatively high score, as long as Fields keeps his legs pumping and he keeps finding Moore as well. That's going to bode well for us the rest of the season.
Yeah, definitely, because if other teams keep putting points up against you, then it makes it makes the players you have
forces you to go, doesn't it?
Exactly, keep scoring points. So it's kind of what you want.
Then Warren obviously had a bit of a, I don't know, not a breakout game, but
we've been saying probably all season, haven't we, that we don't particularly like Najee Harris. Warren's a better runner. He's good out of the backfield from passing. He should be getting more game time, but they're not. I wonder if we're just starting to see maybe the penny drop a little bit more with the coaches. I know we said he'd probably just got slightly ahead in a 50-50, 60-40 split. But, 76-yard touchdown when even if you strip that out, I think his numbers were probably 5 or 6 yards a carry when Najee's going for 2.5. They've got to get there. They've obviously did they fire someone after that game, or was it the game before, Blandy?
No, they fired their OC this week, and it's going to be the running back coach who's going to be the new OC, and it's going to be the quarterbacks coach who actually calls the plays. So it'll be interesting to see with it being the running backs coach, who is the main running back, shall we say? Because I believe after his touchdown last week, Warren only touched the ball once or twice more in that game, which is
really?
And that came at the start of the third quarter. So and they ended up, they only scored 10 points and got beat by the Browns with a 5th round rookie quarterback making just his second start. So yeah, it wasn't a good reflection on the Steelers overall. That's for sure.
It feels quite dysfunctional, doesn't it?
Yeah, which is surprising with Tomlin, because obviously he's a very good, a motivated, players kind of coach. I think there was a beat reporter, I can't remember his name, but he's been following the Steelers for a long, long time, and he kind of insinuated that Matt Canada was fired by the owner.
Right.
But Tomlin's come out in his press conference and said no, the decision was mine and mine alone. So as a head coach should do. He kind of, even if it isn't him making the decision,
he's got to own it, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's the first time the Steelers have fired a coordinator since 1941. So it just goes to show the gravity of the situation there, that something that was 80 years ago.
And question for Anth, who was the coordinator that fired?
God knows.
Not back in 1941. We don't want to know the answer to
that. That's what I want to know. If I knows that.
Well, do you know who it was in? Do you know who it was in 1941?
That's what I'm saying. I'm expecting to know this answer.
Right. Okay. It was the owner who was the head coach of the team fired himself.
I can hear the keys going on Google in the background there. You can tell this show is unscripted. But I know we say this quite often, don't we? That managers and coaches do not care about fantasy football. However, it's quite obvious when you've got two eyes and you can watch something that Warren is a better running back than Harris. And then if you're not particularly doing very well, i.e. scoring 10 points, you're in a game where you could possibly win because the other team isn't very good either, that you should use your better player. I mean, there's just nothing groundbreaking there, is there?
No, not at all. Let me just pull something up here.
You always wonder if there's a bit of a stubbornness.
Yeah, because Jaylen Warren not only is quite clearly the best running back on his team, he's he's actually been one of the better running backs in the whole league this year on a per touch basis. Right. So minimum of 40 rushing attempts over the last month. And then the missed tackles that these running backs have generated. So Jahmyr Gibbs at 21%, Pollard 22%, Brian Robinson 23%, Bijan 23%, Christian McCaffrey 25%, Jaylen Warren 53%. He's had twice as many on a per rush basis over the last month, many broken and avoided tackles than any other running back in the league.
And there must be some analytics people at Pittsburgh putting these numbers and stats in people's ears to say, "Come on." Again, you just look at the bare numbers this week. Najee Harris 12 carries for 35 yards, an average of 2.9.
Yeah.
Obviously, Warren rips off a 74-yarder, but even without that, his numbers per carry are far better.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Give him the ball. Come on, Tomlin, get it sorted.
I like that Barry, fired up Barry there. Come on, give him the ball.
It's just frustrating, isn't it? And again, Harris is not you. Just don't get me wrong, but give Warren more touches because he's making things happen. Come on, we want to see it, don't we? No one wants to see 1 or 2 yard runs into a big wall of players and just roll around on the floor. It's rubbish. We want to see these 60, 70 yarders, don't we?
Especially if that's the only way you're able to move the ball as well. Kenny Pickett had 106 passing yards last week, so they weren't moving the ball at all through the air.
There's some bad quarterbacks in the league, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's some bad quarterbacks and there's some bad coaching as well.
And some bad receivers.
Yeah.
What's our latest on Arthur Smith and Bijan? We haven't had a touch in on that yet. Anthony, you've deflected from with your 8-0, but where are we at with Bijan and Smith?
I'm not sure I care anymore now because redundant, isn't it? He's got a good run in. He's just had his bye. He's just had his bye week, so that's
fresh as a daisy.
That's a plus. Plus, if you notice now, and it pains me to say, is it week 13? There's loads of buys.
Yes, there is. Yeah, lots of buys in week 13.
And you could go on. You could be going into that week in week 13 with them buys, and you think, oh, so yeah, Bijan's buy is gone. So that's certainly a positive. Question from Ricky. Thank you, Ricky. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Much appreciated. Hollywood, McLaurin, or Noah Brown? Start one.
Well, this is a bit of a tricky one because they've all got some question marks, haven't they, I guess?
Well, Noah Brown's question mark is he's healthy, didn't practice again today. So that's one's worth monitoring.
And he's also in a crowded backfield there, isn't he? So he's probably one to be a bit wary of, I think, at this point. We don't know exactly the fitness, but he's probably towards the bottom of the list for me.
Yeah. Tough. It's tough with Hollywood because since Kyler's come back, the connection hasn't really been there. But, if you go back to last year before Hopkins played, the two of them were, really, really good. And they get the Rams this week, and the Rams defense is not the best. I mean, we out of 32 teams in the league, the Rams are ranked 32nd in coverage grade in the secondary. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if they got back on track this week. Did Kyler and Hollywood, and I would prefer him over McLaurin, because the problem you have with McLaurin is he's playing a good defense in the Cowboys, and he's not playing good enough where he's consolidating targets in that Washington team. The spreading the ball around a lot. I think
we spoke about this, didn't we? Saying there's so many mouths to feed there, or they're just deciding to go all over with everybody getting 2, 3, 4. Even Dotson, who had been out of favour, came back in a little bit last week. It's just so unpredictable, which is not what we want as fantasy owners, is it?
No, and I think it was. Did they have 10 or 11 different receivers again last week were targeted in the passing game, and it's just not consolidating targets. So I would play Hollywood, I think, in the hope that you're going to get some big plays against a bad Rams secondary.
Yeah, I think that there's in all the path to victory, you can see, if the connection does go right, and he's going to get those big deep shots and the 60-yard touchdown. And that's after once, and it's made the right decision, hasn't it? I think we did sort of speak with Murray, and that fact that he's coming back off a decent layoff is a bit of ring rust. Will he get it back? I think I was in a process of saying he's looking very rusty on the deep ball, and he bombed a deep one into Rondale Moore, didn't he, quite early on for a 50-yard touchdown. But I think that was I'm just looking at the stats now. Yeah, that one for a 48-yarder. Greg Dortch seemed to come in and get a lot of targets from a bit of left field nowhere. We've not seen much of that this season. And everybody else's longest was in the 11, 12, 13 yards. So I think Hollywood's he's going to get. He got the 5 targets last week, but just if Murray's game improves, then I think he could get the result we want out of that one.
Yeah, that's it. Like since Kyler's come back last year, they had a really good connection, and he had a 27% target share.
Just takes time, I think, just to get that feel back, doesn't it?
Yeah, so far this year since Kyler's come back, he's only had 7 targets in the 2 games. But I do feel that they will get it back, and this is a good spot, I think. This is a good spot where they can take advantage of a bad Rams secondary.
So we're going for Hollywood Brown.
Yeah,
it's a tricky question, that one, because let's be straight, they're all shite.
The good players in, I think the good players in, not the best situations.
Yeah. I meant in fancy terms. I didn't mean they were shit. I was saying for fantasy relevance.
Well,
we know what you meant.
What you can say for fantasy terms is they're inconsistent.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
There's Blandy. Look at this little book of diplomacy. Inconsistent.
Inconsistent.
I would probably go out of those 3. I would probably go for McLaurin on other weeks, but just not particularly against Dallas. I don't think that's a nice matchup for him, and they could get absolutely boat raced there, couldn't they? So
there is that potential. That the Commanders are going to drop back 50 times and throw. But the problem is McLaurin's just not consolidating target. No one in that offense is consolidating targets.
But Howell could be getting he could be getting leveled left, right, and centre, couldn't he?
It could be, or they get the ball out very quickly, and it's a Logan Thomas, Curtis Samuel, and
Gibson, Robinson.
Robinson. I don't think Gibson will play. I think he's a game time decision with a toe. He was out last week. He was out last week, but they've used Brian Robinson a lot in the passing game. I think if they've got any sense, it'll be a quick passing game to those guys. Just to try and take the heat off the pass rush. When they can get the pass rush to drop off a bit, then they might take a couple of shots downfield to Dotson and McLaurin or whoever. But yeah, I don't think there's going to be a load of targets like there usually isn't for these wide receivers in Washington.
Hope that's sorted you out, Ricky. Give us a shout next week. Let us know how you get on.
He's already gone. He went about fucking 10 minutes ago.
Cheers, Ricky, lad.
As soon as we said we'd play Hollywood Brown, he just fucking left, I think.
I think when you go into a long explanation, the answer. I don't want any explanation. Don't show me you're working. Just give me the answer. I'm off. The kettle's on the boil.
Not daft, is he? Not daft. Don't blame him.
Sports FFOP League. Come on, let's rub in our glory a little bit. We're on the charge at the table, aren't we? And we've brought Hammer a bit back down towards everybody else. So there's a group of teams. There's a group of teams at 7-4, isn't there? We're up to 6th in 6 and 5, and I think a couple of people above us play each other. So we've got Sam Allardyce this week, and hopefully we can turn him over.
Oh yeah, yes, we're beating Wiki this week. No bother. We are beating Wiki this week. No bother.
But our team's shaping up quite nicely, isn't it? And I think we might even have a decision to make of who we want to play, which is unusual because our team's been picking itself for most of the last weeks. But Jaden Reed, Blandy, do you want to have a little bit of a chat about him? Because you picked him up for the team a while ago, and he seems to be.
Question from Dom. Well. Question from Dom, boys. As every week, I will interrupt you when we get a question. Do I start Dak over Hurts?
I would still start Jalen Hurts.
I would be tempted to go for Dak this week. I know what you're going to say. I know the Eagles are good, and he's just come off beating the Chiefs, but he didn't. I don't think his performance was overly good last week, Jalen Hurts, and he's had these couple of weeks prior to that where he seems to be carrying that knee injury and not moving as well as he has done in the Super Bowl run last year. And I don't know if the rushing yards are down as a bit of a result. Something doesn't. They got the job done through Swift. But not and a bit of it was like Smith, but not particularly, Pepper and Hollywood, AJ Brown.
Yeah,
I suppose the touch push gives him a good bit of upside, doesn't it? We didn't feel like he does much for that, but
no. But that's what I was going to say. Like going back to last year, he's almost averaging one push touchdown per game.
Is that what it comes out as? Is it one a game?
So pretty much he's almost starting with a 6-point head start on everybody else in the field. When you look at it like that, and in this game, if the Bills can push them, which you would expect to, because
they should be able to keep up somewhat.
Yeah, because the Eagles' secondary is not great. So you would expect the Bills to be able to put up points on the Eagles, and it could be a bit of a shootout. The problem you have with the Commanders the Commanders Cowboys game is that, let's say for instance, Pollard gets a rushing touchdown, Sam Howell turns the ball over, and you get a defensive touchdown, then that's kind of Dak's day's done, isn't it? I just see it as there's more paths to failure for Dak than what there is for Jalen Hurts. It would be how I would look at it.
What's his scores been last 3 weeks, Dak?
Dak's been very good.
He's been playing well for me.
Yeah, up until last week when they played the Panthers, and then they didn't get any pushback from the Panthers, and he scored about 13, 14 points. Was it, Anther? Or did he get a bit more? 16, was it? 16 points, yeah. In a game that scored 33 points, and he got 16 of them. So I could just see that more pass to failure for Dak than I can for Jalen Hurts.
I think you may have even talked me around. I think my initial thought was I like Dak at home against a bad team, and if they're going to go really throw pass happy, he might 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns might bust it. But there are scenarios that don't play with that. Whereas I think a lot of the offense is running through Hurts. Even when he rides Swift, he's getting plenty of passing work. You get a passing touchdown off him, so the touch push makes a difference. So we're probably going to say we're going to go and agree on Jalen Hurts, because I don't think we like the Bills' defense, do we? It's not good by a long stretch.
No, they're suffering with injuries, aren't they?
And the Chiefs is a good defense, isn't it?
Yeah, the Chiefs' passing defense very good. Run defense not great, but the passing defense very good. Yeah.
Hurts is there.
Look, they sacked Jalen Hurts 5 times in the first half last week. The Chiefs. But then in the second half, the went in halftime, made some readjustments, kind of figured it out, and they used DeAndre Swift in the short screen game over the middle. The middle of the field, and that kind of took away the pass rush in the second half.
Hopefully that answers for you, Dom.
Dom, if you haven't subscribed, please can you subscribe? But much appreciated. Thank you very much.
I like this question from Ian Wake on the tight ends, because again we do a little bit on tight ends most weeks, given that it's a bit of a roundabout and you've just got to catch the right one at the right time. And Njoku's been someone we've liked for a while, but not had the usage. But what about his numbers last week? 15 targets, did I see there, Blandy?
So in the last 2 games, Njoku's had a 30% and a 38% target share.
Which is mad. That's absolutely mad, isn't it?
That's 24 targets in 2 games he's had. And this week he gets the Barry Denver Broncos who are number one in the league in fantasy points given up to tight ends.
Number one being the toughest, the least.
They give up
the worst.
Points. Yes, they are the worst. The Browns, the Cleveland Browns, are the toughest on tight ends. No, the Broncos give up the most fantasy points to.
In my vast experience of playing NFL fantasy, when you've got a tight end playing with a second string quarterback, it's always brilliant because they're always like a little safety blanket for him, and they just
dump it off middle of the field, dump it off. Yeah.
No, it hasn't even been middle of the field with Njoku because his ADOT on the season's been around about three yards downfield. It's been pathetic. But DTR last week, his average depth of throw was 3.4 yards down the field. Basically, all they're doing. Yeah. So Njoku, last two games, week 10 ADOT 1 yard down the field. Last week 3.5 yards down the field. Basically, all he is, they're just running tight end screens. That's all it is. Because
he's a battering ram. He's an absolute battering ram, isn't he?
Well, he's athletic as fuck. So basically, they're just throwing little tight end screens to him, getting a couple of blockers out, and go use your athleticism.
Yeah.
Yards
after the catch.
And once he's up to speed, it's like Derek Henry sort of level, but it's like he's almost like a running back.
He does that brush people off with those big stiff arms and sort of rides the tackles and gets his legs pumping another 5 or 6 yards when he's got people hanging off him. So we've always liked him. We've always thought he's capable. It just seems for whatever reason, like I say, he's getting this volume now. And when I just looked through the stats and thought 15 targets for a tight end, what the what's going on here?
Yeah. It's an absolute PPR scam. It's a scam. So
I think the answer to the question is stick with it while it's riding hot for me.
I would, until they give you a reason to go away from it. Especially in this screen game.
Because
it's an absolute scam.
Because with the new quarterback Dorian Thompson Robinson, whatever his name is, I can't see him flinging it out to Amari Cooper, who is a perimeter receiver, isn't he? Yeah. He's over the numbers, over the shoulder guy. Elijah Moore had a better game because again he's probably featuring in different areas in slot or whatever, shorter passes. So I think Cooper's going to really suffer with this quarterback, but Njoku's going to really sort of rise up for it, and maybe Elijah Moore as well. If you've got him, you might be able to flex him in if that continues.
Yeah, last week Ramari Cooper's ADOT was the first time under 11 yards this season. It was down to 6.8 yards. It's just it's not his game.
They're not a match, are they? They're not a match.
No, not his game with DTR in
there. Question from Theo Maniatis. I think I've messed that up, haven't I?
Apologise to him.
Theo Maniatis. Can you do any better on that, Blandy?
Maniatis.
Theo Maniatis. We have to get your name right, Theo, don't we? If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I have Pollard, Cook, Chase, Diggs, and Ayuk, Metcalf, Myers on the bench in a 10-man. Should I trade Pollard and Metcalf for White? We butchered the name. I'm sorry.
That's what we do. We do it to NFL players as well, so don't think you're anything special, Theo.
I don't want to trade Pollard and Metcalf for Rachaad White.
I mean, I never like a 2-for-1, but you're trading two quite good players for. Rachaad White's been doing quite well, but I'm not biggest fan of his talent pool and talent skills. So I think I'd rather stick with. I wouldn't trade Pollard for White. Never mind Pollard and Metcalf, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I would have Pollard and Rachaad White pretty close to each other, and then chucking in DK, who the Seattle wide receivers have the best schedule going into the fantasy playoffs. of any wide receivers in the league. So I wouldn't be keen to give up him for a player that I would pretty much rate the same as Pollard.
Yeah, don't fade DK Metcalf going into these weeks, I don't think.
No, good shout. Did we miss a question before that from Beast Mode?
Yeah, after we'd butchered Theo's name.
Apologies, Theo.
Which RB should I go after then? Pollard has a terrible playoff schedule, though. Beast Mode, we'll get back to you 2 seconds, mate.
Yeah, let's have a look through these sheets of who we might want at running back.
So Pollard got Commanders, Seahawks, Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, Lions.
Is that bad?
No, they're all pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say there's nothing jumping off the page for me that's saying don't play a running back there.
No, me neither. The Bills are, they give up the 10th most fantasy points to running backs. They're running middle of the road in success rate against running backs. Who else did we have on there, Anth?
Seahawks, Commanders, Eagles,
Dolphins. Not.
So the Commanders are horrendous. You want to play everybody against them. I know the Eagles. They have the toughest. They have.
It's the I can't really pronounce the names. Week Detroit Lions and Miami Dolphins are top 10. He said.
The Lions. The Lions do have a. It's queer, right? Because the on paper, like success rate, the Lions are just middle of the road. But in fantasy points allowed, they are 29th. So that yes, they're not a good matchup. But in the right matchup, I wouldn't fade playing a running back against them.
Right. Okay.
Right.
You also think with the just to quickly jump in. You also think with the Lions and the Dolphins, they have quite a lot of games where they seem to be quite high scoring. So there's and fast paced games. So there does seem to be plenty of opportunity and touches available for the right running back. And maybe we're just saying that we think Pollard he's had that a bit of a lull, in the season, but maybe he's just getting the juices going at the right time.
Quite possibly. I mean, he's on his usage. He should be up to double figure touchdowns by now. He's only had 3, so I think there is some positive regression coming there for him. But the Cowboys, the Cowboys are top 10 in success rate running the ball. So they're not. Although Pollard hasn't been performing in the box score for fantasy because he hasn't been scoring touchdowns. They still do run the ball well enough where it won't put me off.
Yeah,
just seems a strange time to sell him for me. You've kept him all season through a pretty shit run.
Yeah.
Jump ship now, then he fucking scores 25 points a week going into the playoffs, and I'd be sick as a parrot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the advice there, Theo, is to just hold tight.
Sometimes the best thing to do is nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. That's what we advise.
Yeah.
Should I trade Jamar Chase for Ayuk?
Yes.
With Burrow being out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ayuk's special player, right? Just in real life. Like, if I really, really, really hope the 49ers can't afford to pay him and he decides to test free agency. Because if he goes to a team that want to base their offense around him, he could go absolutely nuclear, right?
He's so good. Get plenty of deep targets down the middle of the pitch, though, doesn't he? I know he doesn't get as much volume as maybe his talent should, but I think you've got CMC in there who's always going to be, taking his fair share, haven't you? And you've got Debo again, who when fit commands certain amounts. So he's in a talent pool, but I think he does get enough of a look to keep him happy.
Yeah, but yeah, I would have no hesitation whatsoever in doing that deal.
Yeah, agreed. I think again a few of the notes I sort of said going into this week. Injuries are striking now, and we've got some bad quarterback players. And there's almost a few teams where you can just say, "I don't want anything to do with that quarterback and that team." And I don't know if we're there with the Bengals yet. But again, if you can get some value out of players who obviously were drafted high, I think you've got to. When you're picking your lineups, you've got to get away from he was a first round or a second round draft pick. I think how do they feature now under this quarterback, under this circumstances? Where the team's going, and pick accordingly, and not just go, I'll pick Ja'Marr Chase because he's Ja'Marr Chase.
Yeah, I agree.
So we were talking about Jayden Reed. I've been noticing his name pop up on Red Zone. I was thinking, I don't know bloody Jayden Reed.
It's because he's on our team, man.
He's on our team.
Well, I remember when we drafted him, because we drafted him. We've had him in since the draft. And after we finished the draft and you looked at the team, your first question was, who the fuck is Jayden Reed? And I said, give it a few weeks and you'll know who Jayden Reed is.
I've never been necessarily sold on him either, I didn't know much about him, if I'm perfectly honest. But we've got the Green Bay Packers who've got not a lot of established wide receivers. They're all new players to some degree, and he seems to be just starting to sort of make a mark for himself, doesn't he?
Yeah,
and you've got a quarterback that's finding his feet still.
Yeah.
But the good thing with Jayden Reed is, especially now with Aaron Jones out again, he's other than Christian Watson, who it would appear the Packers might be losing a bit of faith in. I'm not sure. I think there was 5-6 players who had more targets last week than Christian Watson. He only had 2 targets. Scored a touchdown, so he kind of got home for fantasy. But he only had 2 targets.
I think we were a bit low on Watson on the last week's pod, weren't we? Saying that he's not getting enough attention of what he is getting his ball sailing over his head on those deep throws, is because he hasn't got Rodgers throwing it. So he obviously came back with a touchdown to shut us up a little bit. But ultimately, 2 targets isn't getting you very far, is it? No,
and with it looks like Dontavian Wicks is probably going to be out this week. So the 4 of them, with Dobbs, Christian Watson, Reed, and Wicks, none of them have really been full-time players. They've kind of had a 4-man rotation. So with one of them missing now, you're going to see probably a solid three wide receiver set where Jayden Reed is going to be on the field pretty much all the time. The problem is the Packers are really, really banged up, really struggling with injuries this week. But he does have a good matchup against the Lions in the slot. That they give up the 6th most points to slot wide receivers. And that's definitely going to be where Jayden Reed's going to be lined up. You're going to have Watson on one side, Romeo Doubs on the other. The Lions are middling against outside receivers, but they do give up a lot of points to slot receivers. The Lions, they're not the best at getting pressure. They've got Aiden Hutchinson, but they don't have anybody else after him. So hopefully John Love isn't going to be under a great deal of duress, and he can get the ball out.
And we're also saying, like say, Aaron Jones is missing, but they might have a AJ Dillon not necessarily fully fit. He's on the injury report this week, hasn't he? So they might have to go more pass heavy than they would like. Luke Musgrave again, another one out. So they say they're dropping like flies. There's got to be more share to come his way as a result, hasn't there?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the Packers have been pretty balanced. 17th in pass rate over expectation, so kind of middle of the league. when it comes to that. So they are willing to pass the ball, when the situation dictates. But Reed last week, he also had 3 rushes for 42 yards and a touchdown because he is explosive. Other than probably Watson. But they haven't really used Watson in the running game this year. It has been Jayden Reed taking these end around and things. So that's another way where he can affect the box score.
Our team's shaping up nicely, isn't it?
As I say, we've got players on the bench that are usable, which hasn't been the case for probably most of the last 11, 12 weeks, has it?
Well, as we touched on before, Williams coming back.
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson.
A bit of luck, and we're on the charge to the playoffs, aren't we?
Deontay Johnson's a time to give up on Deontay Johnson.
Well, you want to see what happens with this coordinator change, don't you? Last week was pretty easy to see where it was going to be. It was going to be bad against the Browns defense, which is absolutely legit. So I don't know. Nobody expected much last week.
Do we think we might see some change at quarterback at the Steelers? Is Pickett on borrowed time? No, they're sticking with him.
No. Yeah, they'll stick with him. What they do in the off season, that'll be a decision to be made then. But it's not going to be now. I don't think it would have to go, absolute disastrously wrong. At the end of the day, they're 6-4, aren't they? I think.
So yeah, but they're very fraudulent 6-4, aren't they?
Oh yeah, we know they're absolute fraudulent 6-4, but that's not really how they're looking at it, is it?
Yeah. Obviously, we've got CD Lamb.
Balling out, isn't he? Balling out, the boy.
And don't forget his bye week's already been as well, which is going to be important coming up.
Just got like
Devontae Smith already had his bye. Lads. We were written off. By the group, the WhatsApp group at the start of the season. Now look at us, firing back on all cylinders.
Go on, you go first. I'll drop one in. Change the subject a little bit.
I was just going to say that you don't get the medals handed out in October, do you?
No. You want to hit the ground late, which kind of probably moves into the. When we talked the question earlier about which running back should be targeting and looking at playoff schedules, Derrick Henry's not got a bad little run of games coming up, has he? He's got some very poor defenses to run into.
Well, he's got these next 2 games. I mean, the Panthers are the nut matchup for running backs. That's the best. Then he plays the Colts, who let me just pull up the numbers here. They're towards the bottom, I believe, if I last checked them. The Colts 4th in running back points allowed. So, that's another good matchup. And neither of those offenses you wouldn't imagine are going to blow out the Titans. Because the problem is for Henry, as soon as they get down, 2 scores, that's it. His day's done. It's finished. Isn't it? So in the playoffs, they get to play the Texans twice, and CJ Stroud is going to absolutely tear to pieces this Titans secondary, which is, quite possibly, if not for the Rams, then they would be one of the worst in the league, wouldn't they? And if he's they put up 2 touchdowns very early in the game, that's Derrick Henry and your playoff run done for the day, isn't it?
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
What about on running backs then? What about Seattle and there's a little mini battle going on there between Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet?
Well, there's no battle now, is there? Because Ken Walker's injured.
Is he long-term injured or is he?
Well, he's definitely out tomorrow. and then obviously,
but it's not.
They'll
it's
have
not the greatest matchup, is it, tomorrow against the 49ers?
Well,
for the
well, none of them are. They've got what they've got there. They've got the 49ers, the Cowboys, the 49ers again, and then the Eagles. So none of them are cupcake matches. But,
right, question from Nino. Thank you for the question, Nino. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Much appreciated. In a redraft league, should I trade Breece and Pittman for Devontae Smith and Josh Jacobs? Looking at playoff schedules, and that is very, very important.
Yeah, good thinking ahead and looking at where you're going. Hopefully, you're not like Anthony, 3-8. But if you look at the playoffs,
so let's have a look. Bring some of these players up then, Anth.
Man. Give us a chance, will you?
Pittman has been good value for the season, hasn't he? I think he's running out sort of wide receiver about 11, isn't he? And he's probably was a later round draft pick, so 14 it's got him on there. So I think he's done some good value for you. Minshew likes shotting it his way. He certainly likes shotting it about a bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's got 30% target share for the season, Pittman, which I was surprised to find out today when I saw that. I had to double check it. I think a lot of them might be prayer yards, but so who's Jacobs got then?
Well, the first thing that stands out at me first is he's got a bye week to come, and the others haven't.
Yeah.
So that's one thing to keep in mind.
Yeah. Okay, Minnesota in week 14 for Jacobs is not a great matchup. Chargers is a brilliant matchup. The Chiefs is a decent matchup. The worry is that the Chiefs put up points and Jacobs is scripted out of the game because since this new coach has come in, he's almost a zero in the passing game now. Before under McDaniels, it was still being used in the passing game like it was last year. With this new coach, it's just none. Done.
So his playoffs are 15-18. It won't stop on week 17.
Then I can't really help you because nobody knows who's going to be playing in week 18.
Is that because they just rest the players and stuff like that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, then teams just toss it off, don't they?
Yeah.
We don't see the Raiders getting close to playoff contention either, do we?
No.
We see of those players. I don't think we see the Jets getting close to playoff contention.
No.
The Colts probably not, but might just be just enjoying themselves, slinging it about. I don't know if they're necessarily saving much for next year, and the Eagles will certainly be in the playoffs, but might they have already locked up their position or not? That's again, we don't know how it's going to
be. Last year with the Eagles, they didn't play their starters in week 18, if I remember correctly. None of them played.
Right. Would you be looking if you could do Breece Hall for Jacobs as just a one-on-one?
Probably do that.
Because I think, just Breece Hall and these Jets are just worrying me. And nobody likes Zach Wilson, but the Tim Boyle move, I didn't know much about Tim Boyle. I started looking into him. He's a bit of a wild card. He seems to have got a job because he's sort of mates with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, well, he's come over from the Packers, hasn't he? Well, he's been on a few teams. The Packers was one of them. But, he's hashtag not good.
He's got some terrible... You like this one? He's got some terrible college stats. His college career was not very good. So how he's now starting in the NFL is a little bit of a mystery.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely brutal. He played 3 years in college. He attempted 275 passes in college in 3 years, which is probably a red flag. He threw for 1 touchdown and 13 interceptions in 3 years.
How was he starting?
3 years in 19 games in college.
One touchdown.
1 touchdown, 13 interceptions at a 4.5 yards per attempt.
I mean, I've seen Ant's arm, and I fancy him for a couple of touchdowns in college.
I mean, that's just. He had basically, when you take off his sack yardage in 3 years, he's thrown for about 1,000 yards.
So why is he starting ahead of Simeon? Not saying Simeon's good, but he.
I would say that the Jets have defended Zach Wilson this long. Tried to tell people that he's improved, yada yada yada. They've now got someone who's actually even worse than Zach Wilson, and they're going to put this guy in and go, "Told you so. Told you Zach Wilson wasn't that bad."
Yeah.
This is what you wished for.
Game plan.
This is what you wanted. Yeah. I mean, it's just like this. Yeah. I mean, fair play to the lad. Good luck, the lad. If someone wants to take him on and pay him, then who are we to say anything bad about him? But yeah, he's just a bit crazy, isn't it? That someone with a college resume like that can actually be making starts in the NFL.
So, based on what you've both just said, I'm presuming you'd choose Bijan Robinson over Breece Hall.
Yeah, give me some Bijan. Give me some Bijan.
Yeah.
He's got a great running, hasn't he?
Yeah,
I mean, he's a great player as well, isn't he? You know what you know more than anyone else, and the frustration has been the usage. Yeah. But the Falcons, again, they're sort of on the periphery of being in the hunt, are they, Blandy? And again, I guess the longer that sort of goes, that they maybe slip another game behind, they've got to then start giving the rock to Bijan, haven't they?
Yeah. Like they're in an awful division. I mean, the Bucs have probably played better with Mayfield than anybody expected them to. The Saints are an awful team, eh? But they get Derek Carr back this week, so they're going to handicap themselves because they'll play Derek Carr over Jameis. So
is he not in concussion, Carr? Did I hear?
No, he's practiced fully today, so he'll play the concussion protocol. Yeah.
So Reborn, we're going to go for Bijan for the rest of the season. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It much appreciated. Who were we talking about before we got a question there? Remember?
You were just going through our teams and how well it's constructed by me and Barry.
To be fair, the last half of the week, Sammy said it's terribly constructed. It's been all you, Blandy, so I shouldn't really take any credit now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going. I think some of our players are hitting the straps at the right time, and I don't mind the fact that Fields has had a nice few weeks off, and he shouldn't be as banged up as some of these other guys are out there. So yeah, I'm quietly confident we'll make the playoffs, and I think we might be a live dog.
A live dog.
Well, yeah, you get there, then anything can happen, can't it? You know.
Yeah. I'm going to take more interest in this team. This going forward.
That's bad news for us, Blandy.
It certainly is. Yeah. Chalk us down for an L this week.
Is there any other players you want to bring up? We're on the hour and 10-minute mark. Absolutely flown.
Flown, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Any other players?
I think a player I just want to quickly mention, we spoke about the Seahawks before, is Jackson Smith-Njigba. I think, again, from what I've seen of him in the last couple of weeks, he seems to have had that rookie bump post the bye, which you sort of highlighted for us, Blandy, and he just seems to be getting more and more involved and actually looking very good. He's probably not going to be a wide receiver 1 or 2, but I think there seems to be a bit of injury doubts over Lockett or Metcalf. And if one of them does go down, he's going to see that upturn. And I think there's some real talent there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, just like we highlighted with Charbonnet, though, this schedule coming up for them is
not great,
gruesome. No, it's not. It's not ideal. Even more so for wide receivers.
But if Lockett or Metcalf was to go down and he gets pushed up the pecking order,
yes, yeah, he becomes a full-time player there rather than he's kind of just playing 2/3 at the minute, and just purely playing just in the slot. But yeah, if one of the others were to go down, then be a full-time player and 2 wide receiver sets on the outside, and then you'd be very interested in it. But he's definitely someone you just you definitely should be rostered in all leagues, and it's just a case of picking and choosing your spots with him. That these next 4 games is probably not a spot you want to be picking with him, I don't think. But if he can get into the playoffs, then they've got a really good run in the playoffs.
Fair enough.
It starts with that Tennessee game. You scroll down just a touch there, Ant.
Yeah.
See your schedule there. So week 15 against the Eagles, and then against the Titans and the Steelers. They're all good matchups for wide receivers. The Pittsburgh one in week 17, especially for slot receivers, second in the league in fantasy points given up to slot receivers. It's a historical problem for the Steelers. They just neglect to cover the slot. So and yeah, that's in the championship week is a really, really good matchup for him.
Who do you want to bring to our attention, then, Blandy?
Josh Downs this week is the player I want to keep an eye on. He's been back at practice. So the last couple of games, if you scroll up, he's been really poor in the box score there, because he had a knee injury, and that affected him going into the bye. But he's had the bye week to rest, so 2 weeks off now. They get the Buccaneers this week, and the Buccaneers have now surpassed the Steelers in points given up to slot receivers. They're now the number one matchup for slot receivers, which Josh Downs is. So if we get a couple of full practices from Josh Downs this week going into the game and he's off the injury report, then I think he's a really strong player this week.
And he's been one of the better rookies out of this draft class in terms of just transferring it immediately into the NFL.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. He has been good, been productive.
And he wasn't one necessarily fancied ones either, was he?
He kind of split opinions. So the analytics community really loved him because he was massively productive at North Carolina. But there was some pushback from the film community who kind of had question marks against him. But he seems to have put those to one side when he's come in the NFL, and he's been very productive like he was in Carolina.
Good.
Question from Parker. Parker, thanks for joining again. Remember your name from last week.
Parker's been on before, yeah. I can remember Parker, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Bledsoe.
Calvin Ridley, Garrett Wilson.
Trade question. Go on, hit us with this trade question, Anne.
Would you do this trade? Javonte Williams and Ridley for Garrett Wilson and Devontae Smith.
You're a Ridley owner, Barry. Obviously, a bit of encouragement last week for you.
Yeah, I've been looking for any sort of encouragement, and he's drank a few times in the last chance saloon, Ridley, but he seems to have he's got the round in this time, so he's welcome to stay. He's again just trying to dig deep into why. So again, he looked great week 1, very, very average. Seems to have come back a little bit. There's a bit of chat about when they have Zay Jones on the field, and does that open it up a little bit more for Ridley? I don't know if I buy it or not, but that's again some people offering that rationale. Just getting him more involved. So it just seemed like there was again a bit of coaches speak and a bit of the Jags should be a playoff team, not particularly performing. Results have been average at best. how do we use Ridley more? And it seems like they're just getting the ball to him more, which is, again, all you want to see. So I don't know if it's necessary because of the other person on the pitch or just a more concerted effort to say, he's one of our better players. How do we use him more effectively? And it seems to be working. So I'm hoping that's not just been a little flash in the pan and I can see more of it, but I think there's more hope and expectation.
Yeah, I would say so, because last week they played the Titans, who secondary is not good at all. So, I don't think there's anything to that Zay Jones thing either. I think that's kind of more just
coincidental.
Well, it's quite ironic because on his touchdown last week where he scored, Zay Jones was actually on the sidelines. He wasn't on the pitch. So it's.
I think it's more just we need to use Ridley a bit more. He's a good player. We're paying him. Let's just get him more touches and work out some better plays. And Trevor Lawrence is an accurate quarterback. So if Ridley gets himself a little bit of separation, he's going to get found. So I think that's just more of a coach effort and a game planning than anything else.
Yeah,
so I'm just going to push you on the answer, lads, because I've got another question coming in from. We've got a live trade negotiation ongoing.
Oh wow!
For the first time ever.
I like a bit of agent's fee on this one. Anyway, Parker, I'm going to say stick with Javonte Williams and Calvin Ridley. Javonte Williams is Bronco. We'll stick with him, and Ridley hopefully coming to Boyle. Just because Garrett Wilson, he just frightens me with this Boyle character.
Yeah, I would edge that side as well, I think.
So stick with Javonte and Ridley.
I would say so, yeah.
Yes. Right, so cast your minds back to Nino. I'll bring his whole question up. I can't remember what our answer was, to be totally honest with you. But so the original question was, in the redraft league, should I trade Breece and Pittman for Devontae and Josh Jacobs? Looking at the playoff schedules.
And we said, if you could, could you just move on Breece and get Josh Jacobs, because I think we're just concerned about the Jets just wrapping it in for all the reasons we've said, and we don't necessarily want to give up Pittman. So there's been a negotiation, and we're back on with hit us with the next phase of this question.
Yeah, so an ongoing trade deal. I am back. He's also offering just to add an extra wide receiver between Amari Cooper, Drake London, Godwin, and Downs. Who should I take?
Well, there's a few of them with some big question marks on. We've already sort of scratched off Amari Cooper, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Drake London seems very up and down. Heineke, Ridder, but probably a run-heavy team. I'm not sure there's any stability there. Downs, we've given a nice little feature to. So is that somebody we want to fly under the radar with?
I would, if you want in a stable floor of probably 10 points a week, then I will go Josh Downs. And then hopefully you get a couple of ceiling games as well.
A few other receivers.
Yeah, I think between now and the end of the season, he's probably the one who's most likely to be the most consistent player for you. He might not score the most points, but I think on a weekly basis, he's probably going to be the most consistent player.
Josh Downs. Question from Joe. Joe, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Much appreciated. Hi, guys. Looking to get a running back. My receivers are Pittman, Moore, Chase, Higgins, and Kupp. And running backs are Aaron Jones, A-Chain, Dillon, Charbonnet. Should I trade Kupp for Henry? I know Kupp has ceiling PPR.
Great question.
Barry, you'll have to answer this one because I can't.
Yeah, give us Big D. Next question. No, I think to go through it, I think Chase and Higgins, and we don't want both of them with Burrow done, do we? That's not a good position to be. If people are going to overvalue Chase based on his draft position and obviously his ability rather than what he's going to do from the season on, I would say, can you move on Chase to get a running back?
Yeah, I would probably move Chase for Henry, maybe. I think it's...
You don't want to be giving up Cooper. You can't be giving up Cooper Kupp, can you? I know he's he had the spell on the sidelines last week, and you see him grimacing, and he doesn't look particularly good. But you've got to cross your fingers and hope that he comes back in a week or two, and it hits full fitness and hits his straps again, haven't you? Because he's the best player on that whole list.
Yeah, like he might even play this weekend. McVeigh. McVeigh says there's a chance he can play this weekend. I wasn't a fan of Derrick Henry in his prime. I'm certainly not a fan when he's past it. But if you need a running back, that's the best you can do. Then I would reluctantly probably give up Chase.
Would you look at any? Is there anybody else you would be looking at?
You wouldn't give up Cooper Kupp?
Absolutely not.
I think I would prefer Kupp over Chase rest of the season.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
But would you trade? Would you trade Kupp for Derrick Henry, Blandy?
No, you wouldn't. No, I don't.
I couldn't do that, could I? I mean, I wouldn't trade my kicker for Derrick Henry, would I?
He would be able to look himself in the mirror if he traded Kupp for Derrick Henry, would he?
No, I would not. No. I don't know, man. I mean,
but if he's looking for,
I'd much rather see if I could go out and get David Montgomery or someone like that than Derrick Henry.
What? I was going to ask you. So, what running back would you aim for with Chase in mind?
Someone like a Monty.
What about Ramondre Stevenson? Do you think you could get Ramondre Stevenson? He's a bit under the radar at the moment, isn't he?
I think it would definitely get Ramondre. It's a shame that Pollard had a good week last week because I think he would have been able to get Pollard. But I'd still put feelers out for players like that. Monty. Someone with a bad quarterback, but it's going to touch the ball 30 times. Is going to be Saquon probably.
Javonte Williams. I mean, no one's going to let Saquon go. Javonte Williams, could you get him? Maybe get a bit of him. What about James Conner? Again, I think he's a little bit underrated in the fantasy world. I know he's maybe not, his talent's not off the charts, but he seems to be doing some good things from a fantasy perspective on his box score.
Yeah, maybe a bit higher than that. But no, I would look someone like Monty, Saquon, Pollard. I would look around about that range, I think. But Henry, again, value-wise, Henry falls into that same category. It's just it can go very, very wrong very quickly for Henry, as we've seen throughout this season.
Jonathan Taylor's another name, I guess, to band around. Who's a bit of a hard one to grade for some people at the moment with all of the the non-performance not playing early in the season.
Yeah, I think most people will probably have him as a top 5 running back between now and the end of the year, to be honest with you.
But you never know, though, do you? You can always put these trades out there. The worst thing that can happen is say no.
Yeah.
Question from Chris. Chris, you haven't subscribed yet. Please subscribe. Much appreciated. Traded away Chase for Kieran Williams. Needed a running back. Still have Ayuk and Devontae Smith. Next, I'm thinking of trading Dobbs for Breece Hall.
It's a strange.
Cheers, Joe. Please drop a sub, mate.
Yeah, I don't hate the Kyron for Jamar Chase one either.
No, I don't mind that at all. I think it's a good move. Yeah.
Yeah, I presume this has got to be super flex to be able to give up, or to be able to get Breece Hall for Josh Dobbs. It's got to be a super flex league for that. If it's not, then I would be absolutely biting the guy's hand off. If it's just a one QB league,
Dobbs has got no value, has he?
You can get Breece Hall for Josh Dobbs. Then that will be an absolute no-brainer to me.
Yeah, let us know, Chris, what the format of the league is, and if that makes much of a difference. If we've called it right, it's a 2 QB league, then.
Yeah. Any other players, and then we'll see if any more questions come in. We're on an hour and 25 minutes.
Quick one this week, isn't it?
Yeah, as the week goes on, it's harder to find anything of any note anywhere on that waiver wire or just low pickups. So I think you're always having a little bit of eye on injuries and what injury situations. So again, a couple that I've sort of been keeping a bit of an eye on is the Dolphins' backfield. So you've got Mostert's carrying a few knocks. Is it knee and ankle or calf? Achane came in and left as quick as he came in. Mm-hmm. And then even I thought, maybe that's an opportunity for Salvon Ahmed. Scored a touchdown. He's gone onto IR, I think. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if it's time that Jeff Wilson just starts to feature in and slips under the radar a little bit, just on the basis that all the others are either banged up or injured, and he's coming back fitter. Is he someone you can get the right side of?
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. Okay, so Chris has come back since one QB league. I mean, yeah, do that. Yeah, absolute no-brainer. Yeah, definitely do that deal. Yeah, so going back to the Dolphins backfield there, Mostert's just load management with him now. Achane, it would appear he's not going to play this week, so he's out. So yes, they've said that Wilson will be active this week. Last week he was a healthy scratch, so it tells you where he is in the pecking order at the moment with a team.
A healthy scratch, but coming back off an injury, though, isn't it?
No, he came back off the injury a while back, though, didn't he?
Really? I thought he was still sort of working towards fitness. Okay, because he seemed to feature last season, didn't he, Wilson? The whole Mostert Wilson thing was a bit of a double header. Yeah, I know Mostert's done very well this season, but I don't know if that reflects badly on Jeff Wilson because he's not had much of an opportunity.
No, just for whatever reason, these injuries have hindered him. And I mean, even when he played, you saw him. He didn't look the same player as he was last year, coming back from these injuries. But no, he was a healthy scratch last week.
Okay.
But yeah, he should be in line for the running back 2 role this week. And we know Mostert can't handle a full load. So he should see 35%. Yeah, 35% of the playing time at a minimum, I would say.
Okay. Maybe you can give us I'll give you a little segue in this one, and your man Mark Andrews. Not a good week for him, was it? With picking up an injury.
It wasn't Barry.
Is there a like for like replacement not like for like in terms of ability, but do you want to be going in for the likely lad?
Do you just say is there a like for like replacement?
He did just say that. Yeah, he did just say that.
And is it likely that Isaiah is the man you're picking up?
Well, as soon as I'm not sure if it was after the game or the morning after, Mark Andrews went down injured. I got a young man offering me a trade for Kincaid for Howell, so I could replace Mark Andrews with Kincaid. He didn't do too bad last week, Kincaid, did he?
No, I think I might have traded you the wrong tight end, I had Laporta and Kincaid, and I had Burrow at quarterback. So you lost Andrews, and I lost Burrow in the same game. I needed a quarterback. You needed a tight end. So, we did a deal. But I think I might have traded you the wrong tight end. Because Laporta's his playing time's still been fine, but since Gibbs has come back and Gibbs and Monty have been there, Laporta's he's only averaging 5 targets a game now. So, we'll see how it goes. But no, it was the right deal for the pair of us, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Not that it matters to me anymore.
No, we both got something out of it that we needed. So.
Yeah.
But in another league where it's a 14-team league, so the waiver wire was barren. Yeah, and I had Mark Andrews as my tight end there, and I spent the rest of my fab waiver allowance on Likely this week. $50 went on Likely this week in that particular league, and then I had one of the other lads text me, said he put a bid in for $20, and he thought that was more than enough. And I was like, no. I said, like, there's nothing on the waiver wire, and the only lad he's got 2 tight ends on his roster, another lad in the league, Callum. Actually, it's Callum. He's got McBride and he's got McBride. It might be McBride and Kincaid or something on his roster. So I was talking about him doing a deal, but the two of us actually play each other this week, so there's no way he's gonna trade me.
He'll be demanding a king's ransom from them too as well, won't he?
Yeah. He's like, oh no, I really like these two. So I said, okay, like these. I'm just going to empty my whole fab budget on Likely, and we'll see how if it goes well this week, then I won't go back to Callum. If it goes badly, then I might have to go back cap in hand.
At this point in the season, there's no point in holding on to your fab, though, is there? If there's a player you need, a situation you need, somebody who has a good week who shouldn't be on there who is, you've just got to fire it all in because you can't, you can't cash it, can you?
No, that's it. Like, it's a 14-team league, so the waiver wire is absolutely barren. Like, there's nobody at all on there.
And I do wonder with the Ravens, with Andrews going down, obviously Likely he's going to come in as the starting tight end, but not command what Andrews was. Does somebody like OBJ, does he get a bit more of a? I know he had a good week with a touchdown last week, but is he going to start just ramping his target share up?
Possibly, but he injured his shoulder in that game as well, didn't he? And he was a non-participant today in training.
He loves an injury, doesn't he? Doesn't he, OBJ?
Yeah, Rashad Bateman. He left practice today early with a foot injury, although he said he'll play this week. But him and Zay Flowers have been the 2 full-time wide receivers in that team, and then Beckham and Nelson Aguilar have kind of been playing 50-50. They've been splitting the role. But yeah, they're all a bit banged up there. So yeah, maybe it's when they do the game planning, Likely is a bit more involved.
Got some big news, lads. Got some big news.
Oh, go on. Who was it?
We've just hit 90 subscribers.
Giddy.
And the big news is.
10 more to 100. Surely we get to 100 before the season's over.
We'll get there by the Super Bowl.
Hopefully. We can only dream.
We can
only dream. Anyone else? So we're basically saying there's no one else on the waivers at tight end.
Right. There's one guy, not tight end. One guy that I brought up last week. I haven't checked what his roster ship is, but I imagine it's last week it was 2%.
This is the Saints guy.
Yeah, A.T. Perry.
So A.T. Perry, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the nickname? No, it's not, is it?
No.
There was one guy last week with a nick.
Oh, no, it was Pop Douglas.
Pop, that's it.
No, it's not Pop. Not Pop, no. It's A.T. Perry. Yeah, so... since I mentioned him last week, his roster ship's gone up, doubled in fact, 2% to 5%.
That's the impact we have on the. That's the impact we have on the market. You see,
that's it.
The Blandy factor.
Yeah. So Michael Thomas has gone on IR, and then basically this guy is the 1-for-1 replacement of Michael Thomas in the Michael Thomas role. Now. It's unlikely that he's going to, get close to any kind of Michael Thomas production, but he's pretty much going to be a full-time wide receiver for the Saints. If you've got a spare bench spot, just pick him up, stash him on your bench, and see how it plays out this first game without Michael Thomas and with A.T. Perry in a full-time role. He's a bit of a when Marvin Jones was in his peak, he's kind of that kind of style of player. Big body down the field, wide receiver, box out a DB kind of player. He's not really going to be, throw it in the short area and run after catch kind of guy. So he's going to be a big player kind of receiver, but full-time player. Pick him up, stick him on your bench, see what happens.
So the ongoing trade deal between Nino and one of his league mates is still ongoing.
Is this phase 3 we're on now?
Phase 3, yeah. So this is the first ever live FFOP transfer negotiation.
It could be the last at the success rate we've
got. So we had Brees, Pittman for Devontae, Jacobs, and Downs. Okay, before. Or, so we're all coming to it.
Mm-hmm.
Do we do Brees and Ridley for Rachaad White and Deontay Johnson?
So just reminding myself, I think Nino has Brees and Pittman. I don't think giving up Brees and Pittman for Devonta Smith, Josh Jacobs, and Josh Downs, I think that's a relatively good deal to be done. Mm-hmm. Because I think we're out on Brees, great player, but just Jets is a mess. Pittman we don't want to necessarily give up, but if we're getting Devonta Smith, Downs, and Jacobs for giving up a player that we do and one that we don't, I think that feels like a win.
Yeah, I would agree with you there, Barry.
But and on the second one, I'm giving up Brees. If you're giving up Brees and Ridley, I don't particularly like Rachaad White or Deontay Johnson. I think again just too erratic, both them players. That doesn't feel like a good move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I would take the 2 for 3 or the 3 for 2.
So there you go, Nino. Stick with the original plan. Don't take your eyes off the ball.
I like the fact that Nino seems to be motivated to do the deal. There seems to be a will to trade, which is a general thing. But in this negotiation, I think they got people out of the Cold War a bit quicker, and the hostages came out than this sort of deal's going through. So.
Any more questions? Come on, roll up. Answered live.
I think the only other person I've got on my list to just mention a bit about a future pickup maybe is the Chargers, and is Josh Palmer getting fit, and does that role have any value in a super flex position or anything?
I think when they put him on IR, they expected him to miss the rest of the season.
So keep an eye on it, but it's not looking like a.
No, and especially I would say.
Nino's
accepting the first trade. Appreciate it.
Yes, well done, Nino. Have a celebratory cup of tea or whatever you. Yeah, any sound effects for a live trade? Anton up.
Yeah. That's the best I can do. We'll have to invest in a soundboard for next season.
You must be able to get some sort of little box that just makes some random noises and just start pressing it, and that would improve the show tenfold.
All right, I'll order one now. I fucking order one now.
But yes, that was a good bit of trading and negotiating. I guess trying to get that through over the course of the 1 hour 38 that we've been online.
Soundboard. Oh, that's nice. Right, I'll have a look at that after the show. Next week, I'll have some sound.
Excellent.
Perfect. I think we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we're about done.
Bring on week 12. Just a good spread of fixtures over. The Thanksgiving, Black Friday's got a couple of games. I think the games on the Sunday are good, aren't they? I'm quite looking forward to sitting down for a couple of the TV games over here in the
UK. There's some games that are good. There's some games that should not see the light of day.
Bills Eagles 9:25 looks like a good one for me.
Yeah. Panthers
Hopefully
Titans,
the Bills turn up.
Panthers Titans, Patriots Giants. I don't think there's going to be much of them games on Red Zone, is there?
We might not get to the Red Zone.
Yeah, Bengals, Steelers. That's going to be another tough watch.
Your Rams and your Cardinals might not be a bad one, though, Blandy, eh? Bit up and down the field.
Yeah. Hopefully. I think the Rams might get conservative and just continue to run the ball a bit too much for my liking.
Jags Texans, the early window game in the UK, isn't it? And I think that's got potential. CJ Stroud's the flavour of the month at the moment, isn't he? And his numbers are off the chart, so that's got potential to be a decent to watch game, divisional game. Again, if the Texans want to win the division, they've got to beat the Jags, haven't they?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So
yeah,
that should be a good game. Bit of strength on strength with the Texans passing attack against the Jaguars pass defense. Should be good to watch.
Looking forward to it. We'll see you back at the usual slot next weekend.
Yeah, sorry, I got distracted there looking at fat sound boxes, so I do apologise.
Don't give the game away, Anth. Come on, keep the secrets to ourselves.
No, we'll be back next week on Thursday, the usual time, 9:30.
Yep.
Perfect.
13. Thank you for anyone watching back. Hope you enjoyed it. Peace out. And if you do watch it back, please subscribe. Get us to 100. Good night.
Ciao, ciao.